All right, gents, the first thing I want to do is show you guys a generic DBQ rubric, all right? So when you take this test on May 15th, this is how they're going to score this specific question. So you'll see there's two kind of categories. There's the basic core and then there's the expanded core. What that means is there's 9 points possible. 7 of them are literally just kind of on a checklist. And then you have 2 extra that are given for like depth of analysis. So you'll see, you remember how I stressed this. Nate, what's the first point on the basic core up there?
That your DBQ has an acceptable thesis.
Yep, exactly. If you don't have an acceptable thesis, it's all downhill from there. So then we have addresses all the documents and demonstrates understanding of all but one. But remember, we do how many of the documents? All of them, exactly. Supports thesis with appropriate evidence from documents. And then analyze points of view in at least 3 documents. Analyzes documents by grouping them in 3 or more ways. And identifies and explains the need for one type. But how many do we use?
All of them.
3. All of the views. Appropriate additional document or source. So you can see that adds up to 7. And then we have, I won't read it, but I have it provided for you guys on weekly assignments. Basically a depth of analysis that works into getting that expanded core. All right? So, when I read you all's sketch outlines over the weekend, I realized that there were a lot of good responses, but we're not quite there yet. So what I decided to do, instead of having those grades stick, was I wanted to go through sort of an exemplary response and then give you guys an extra couple days to sort of retool the outlines a little bit. And honestly, they weren't where they needed to be, and that's okay. Remember, this is your first time doing this exercise, and this is really difficult material. So the fact that you guys weren't there on the first try, totally understandable. I just didn't want to be overly penal with the grades, okay? So I want us all, as a class, to read this response here. Got a 9, so a perfect score on this question. And what I want you to look at is, first of all, let's start reading and tell me, raise your hand when you start to notice what you think is a thesis, okay? As Buddhism spread from India to China beginning in the 1st century CE, it was met with mixed results. Many Chinese accepted Buddhism and defended its policies, while others scrutinized Buddhism's absence from the past texts and used it as a scapegoat for political and social problems. Still others remained indifferent, wishing to meld the aspects of belief systems. Anybody raising their hand yet? What do you think this thesis is, Luke?
All of that?
Well, you think the first sentence is really a thesis?
No, not really.
Okay. Good, exactly. So, we see many Chinese accepted Buddhism and defended its policies, while others scrutinized Buddhism's absence from past texts and used it as a scapegoat for political and social problems.
Is that setting up for 2 paragraphs?
Hang on. Still others remained indifferent, meld the aspects of the belief system in China to create a unique Chinese culture. That is a beautiful thesis. Now, can you guess how many groups she has? 3. What are they, Sean?
The people who defended Buddhism,
Yep.
the people who scrutinized it,
Yep.
and the people who remained indifferent.
Great. So you see how the groups, her grouping of the documents, is reflected in what? The thesis. And do you think that her thesis is going to follow the sort of the structure of the essay? So how many paragraphs do you expect this essay to have?
2 or 3.
3. Yeah, 3. The body's going to be 3 paragraphs, okay? So, and then she says, documents 2 and 3 defend and support Buddhism in China, while documents 4 and 6 scrutinize it and discourage its spread. Documents 1 and 5 neither encourage nor discourage the religion's spread. My mouse got lost here. Okay. And you see, I skipped too far. Sorry, guys. You see what she does at the very end. You can pull this up on your own tablet, too, if you want to read along with me. She includes the additional documents at the end of the first paragraph. So you see An additional document that shows the actual numbers of converts to Buddhism during this time, preferably in a graph, would be useful in determining whether or not the worries of the authors and documents against Buddhism are grounded. Now, where do I say you should put that paragraph? Last, at the end. Good. So, here we go. First paragraph. What is she going to be talking about?
The support.
People that supported it. Documents 2 and 3 defend and support the spread of Buddhism in China during the 1st century CE. Document 2 speaks of many joys joining the Buddhist religion. However, the author is of the upper class of China, and as such, his testimony does not tell how the lower classes felt. What is she doing right there, guys? Point of view, exactly. You see how she weaves that in to the actual analysis? Yeah, in a time when Asian steppe nomads were invading northern China, Zidun could have easily targeted Buddhism as a means of foreign corruption, but he does not. Document 3 counters the scrutinizing of anti-Buddhists with logic. However, since the author is anonymous, his biases in this document is difficult to pinpoint. What is he trying to do there? Point of view, but it's a little bit of a cop-out because she's basically saying, like, it's anonymous. We don't know, right? Yet his role as scholar certainly dictates that a slight upper-class bias, as in document 2. Good stuff. So, second paragraph, what she's going to talk about?
People who disturb.
Exactly. Documents 4 and 6 all discourage the spread of Buddhism in the 1st century China. Document 4 ridicules Buddhism as a cult of barbarian peoples, citing Confucian sayings as the truth amongst Buddhist lies. Han Yu's position in the imperial court certainly makes his ideas a standard in the state. Yet the emperor acts otherwise, and the peasants might not share the same opinion. All right, remember, document 4 is what I discussed with a lot of you guys in terms of point of view. Document 4, the author was what? What was his position? Does anyone remember? You can look at the document if you don't.
Was he the Confucian?
Yes, he was the Confucian scholar. So therefore, I like what she does here. Because he's a scholar in the imperial court, she guesses that he's a member of what social class? The upper class, which is a pretty good guess. But also, given that he's a Confucian scholar writing about the spread of Buddhism in China, that's going to make him sort of have a favorable attitude or a unfavorable attitude. Absolutely, absolutely. Not only because he's a Confucian scholar, but remember, what was Buddhism's really great challenge to people of the upper class of Chinese society?
Didn't they give away their wealth?
Yeah, you have to give away your wealth. You had to literally, the goal was to desire nothing. Good. So let's skip down and talk about the last paragraph. Documents 1 and 5 neither discourage or encourage Buddhism spread in China, but attempt to make a compromise. Document 1 is directly from the Buddhist tradition, laying down the basic principles to attaining a happy and enlightened life. Since the document is taken straight from the sacred text, it's certain that all other Buddhists shared these same